Alright, I've got all the brand new cosmetics that released in the Blindfold update. And in this video, I'll be doing a comparison of every single cosmetic and see what is the brand new cosmetic setup to run. But before we get into the video, I am doing a huge giveaway during the entire month of December. And in each day during the month of December, I will be uploading a video, and in each video is a new opportunity to win a giveaway. And that giveaway prize can include a weapon slot or any of the weapon bundles from the shop, or you can choose something outside of Hunty Zombies as long as it has a value of 350 Robux and a gifting mechanic. To enter the giveaway, all you have to do is like this video, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment with your Roblox username on it so I can send you a friend request telling you that you won the giveaway. Alright, but now it's time to choose our giveaway winner from yesterday's video. I will say that Johan Dell did reach out to me, so he will be claiming his giveaway prize. I just haven't had a chance to give him his gift yet because we both have very conflicting schedules. He's free when I'm unavailable, and when he's unavailable is when I'm free, so we're just trying to figure that out. Alright, so let's copy this video link right here, let's paste it right here, and let's click fetch. We're not including replies, we're doing anything goes. Let's see how many comments this video got. 158 comments. And the new winner is Antonio. Thank you so much for all the support on the channel. I appreciate all of you guys. But now with the intro out of the way, first let me compare all the cosmetics I'm going to use in the video. So as you can see, I've got the 3 new cosmetics in the update: the snazzy glasses, the cursed crown, and the cursed finger. Now before this update released, the 2 best cosmetics to use for DPS were the Red Blade cosmetic and the Jester Rings cosmetic. But in this update, some things have slightly changed. The first thing to mention is that Red Blade Strength 5 isn't permanent anymore. For some reason, after your Strength 5 is applied, it just goes away after some time, so it's not a long-term effect for some reason. So does this make Red Blade still a great cosmetic? The answer is yes. Red Blade is still a powerful cosmetic, and I'll be showcasing you in some different runs. Actually, in every run I'm going to showcase you, I was using Red Blade in every single fight. Because even without the special effect that it gives you, the flat damage and the critical damage is still very powerful. But if you take a look at every single cosmetic right here, they're all very similar in strength. There is just a different distributions of where the devs decided to place the stats, but they're all relatively in the same ballpark of strength. So of course with the Red Blade, we've got 35 damage and 45 critical damage. But that's all it gives us in terms of DPS. Now if we compare Red Blade to Jester Rings, it's giving us 20 flat damage, 15 critical chance, and 20 critical damage. Now in my opinion, critical chance is very important when it comes to consistency, especially when it comes to using the blindfold weapon, because it is not a weapon with a multi-hit attack in it. Since you're going to want to be using blindfold's 100 mastery move, you only have a single shot of getting a crit, so you really want to have higher crit chance when it comes to a blindfold build. But if we compare these two to the snazzy glasses, now the snazzy glasses is giving you 60 flat critical damage and 10% skill damage and 30% flat damage. Of course, on paper, this sounds amazing. We can see that this is just very similar to the Red Blade cosmetic right here. But as I mentioned for the Jester Rings, there is no critical chance right here. Alright, and then we've got the cursed crown. Now, unlike all the other cosmetics, this one does feature 15% skill damage. But it also has 15 flat damage with 20 critical damage and 20 crit chance. And finally, we have Cursed Finger with the highest skill damage, but with the lowest crit damage, but still with good crit chance, and giving you cooldown reduction. I will say, if you went with a full damage build and you're still struggling with cooldowns, like you're bringing the undead perk or something, this is definitely a great option to bring, because that crit chance and skill damage is genuinely no joke. Since the skill damage is consistent and the crit chance gives you extra consistency, this is honestly a decent cosmetic. So now that you've seen the stats, you can possibly recognize all the similarities between all these cosmetics right here. For example, the Red Blade and the snazzy glasses are very similar in that they give you high flat damage, high critical damage, but 0 crit chance. And the Jester Rings, Cursed Crown, and Cursed Finger are all similar because they all give you an equal value of crit chance and critical damage. And what makes Jester Rings extremely different from these 2 cosmetics is that the Jester Rings gives you lifesteal. And the difference between Cursed Crown and Cursed Finger is that in exchange for some DPS, you get some extra cooldown reduction. So I'm going to share my opinion with these cosmetics right here, and to be honest with you, I actually really like the way they made all these different cosmetics right here. They're all similar in strength, but there's not 1 or 2 cosmetics that are just definitely better than all the others. So what I'm trying to get at is if you get 2 of the 5 cosmetics right here, you you'll pretty much see very similar DPS as the other cosmetics. What separates each cosmetic is just curating to different little builds and different little preferences you might want to have. For example, even though the buff isn't forever anymore, you may want to prefer Red Blade's Strength 5, especially if Sukuna hits you with the Malevolent Shrine. You'll be at low health, so you'll immediately get the requirement of getting the Strength 5. Or you can do the exact flip side of Red Blade, and you may want to prefer Lifesteal to stay healthy and never die. Or you just want to throw all extra benefits and all extra bonuses and all extra crit chance out the window and go all in on DPS with the snazzy glasses. Or if you want a decently balanced item that gives you damage, critical damage, and crit chance, the Cursed Crown may be your favorite. And if you run a build with really slow cooldowns, the Cursed Finger may be your preference. So in my opinion, I really like that there are different cosmetics that you can just mix and match, and you'll pretty much see very similar strength. You just want to use your preferences. But even if you do not believe my word that they are all similar in strength, I will still be showing you some raids using these cosmetics and using this build right here. I'll be using Blindfold and Wizard. I'm just bringing Wizard to help me get to my 10th attack for my 100 mastery move for Blindfold, ripping a hollow purple on the boss. And the two best pets in the game are the cosplay pet and the P-Fresh pet. I will say, unfortunately, the sorcerer cat pet is bugged and it's not buffing anything at all. So it's kind of like Palker in the last update, where for some reason it's just not working as intended. It's not giving you any stats. So you definitely do not want to run the sorcerer cat pet. But I will say that even if it was working as intended, these two pets would still be stronger than it. So you definitely want to go for these two pets either way. Of course, we just discussed the cosmetics, so you know why I'm running just the rings and Red Blade for now. And the two strongest passives are the attack passive and the AP passive. You want to hit your 5th and 10th attacks for your Berserker synergy, multiplying your damage by 1.75. And the perk I'm bringing is the critical perk. As you can see, my finalized crit chance is 76%, but you can add another 15% on top of the 76% right there, and it'll be 91% crit chance. Now I will say, if I'm running a build like Jester Rings and Cursed Crown, you're gonna see how high my crit chance is. It is now 96%. At this point of having 96% crit chance, the critical perk is basically gonna be useless. So sometimes I'll just be switching out the critical perk, and instead I'll bring the undead perk just to have some faster cooldowns. And my skill tree is upgraded in the crit tree all the way to the max. And there's one important thing I'll mention, and that is the traits right here. Obviously, I'm still stuck with Prodigy on my Blindfold. I rolled so many traits and I still got all the way back to Prodigy. I still can't even get critical damage on it. What is my freaking luck, man? But let me give you some suggestions if you were lucky enough to get the Yoriichi trait. So if you don't know what the trait does, here's what it does right here. Increases damage by 50%, critical damage by 35%, critical chance by 15%, attack speed by 20%, movement speed by 20%, skill damage by 30%. So back to my talk earlier about the cosmetics. If your weapon has a Yoriichi trait, you definitely don't want to run two cosmetics that already have high crit chance on them. For example, the two cosmetics I'm using right now, the Cursed Crown and the Jester Rings, you definitely don't want to run just two of those right together. And obviously that includes the Cursed Finger right here. You don't want to run these two cosmetics together. The reason you don't want to do this is because the utility of these three cosmetics right here is that they give you high crit chance. And the snazzy glasses and the Red Blade, they give you high DPS and high raw damage. So with that being said, you may as well substitute the cosmetic that's giving you crit chance and give you the cosmetic that's going to give you more critical damage, since your crit chance is already going to be high because of the Yoriichi trait. If it were up to me, I would probably run the Cursed Crown and the snazzy glasses put together, because if I stack this critical chance with the Yoriichi trait, I would get 96% crit chance. And I would couple that high crit chance with this 60% critical damage from the snazzy glasses. But sadly, I don't have the Yoriichi trait, so I would not be using this combo right here. But I will say, even without the Yoriichi trait, I would still at least recommend running one accessory that gives you high critical chance. And I forgot to show the weapon upgrades, and my Blindfold is upgraded with 7 cooldown to the max, and my Wizard is also upgraded with 7 cooldown to the max. Now the last important thing I forgot to mention is the pets. My cosplay pet is level 9, and my P-Fresh pet is level 7. As you can see, every level jumps my crit chance by 2%. And you can see that right here with the cosplay pet as well. Since I'm lacking 4 total levels, that means I can have an extra 8% crit chance on my build. I just wanted to mention that and throw that out there, that this is not the max potential for crit chance right here. Getting 100% crit chance has just never been easier with this update. But now with everything out of the way, let me show you the differences of using every single cosmetic fighting the Sukuna raid boss. Alright, in this one I'm running the Red Blade and the Cursed Crown cosmetic. This is going to be a good balance between a DPS cosmetic and a crit rate cosmetic. Every run I do the same setup for my 10th attack, and you're gonna watch me let it rip right now, and that took so much of his health right there. Thank God we had a lot of crit damage and we have a lot of DPS that is actually gonna eat a lot of his health. So we're about to set up another combo to do our 10th attack. With this build, it only takes 2 hollow purples, and boom, that's our second one. That was a fast one. That only took 57 seconds. Alright, now in this build, we're running the red blade and the snazzy glasses cosmetic. We took out all crit rate and went all in on crit damage to compare the DPS. In this run, you'll recognize how important the crit rate stat is, because I'm gonna hit a hollow purple without getting a crit on it. It was my 10th attack, but I didn't get a critical attack on it because I had such low crit rate, even though my crit damage is really high, so that when I hit a crit, it will be super strong. What's important is that I try and hit a crit every single time. As you can see right there, the damage is there. I did lots of damage because I have so much critical damage, but because of my critical rate, I'm having to do 3 hollow purples in this run compared to the usual 2 hollow purples it takes for me to kill him. So I'm about to rip my 3rd hollow purple right now after he does his malevolent shrine, and you obviously, the longer the fight takes, the longer you have to sit through his malevolent shrine cutscene. So after you rip a hollow purple, boom, that's a run complete. It was a little bit slower. That was 1 minute and 40 seconds. Alright, in this run, I've got the red blade cosmetic and I've got the jester rings cosmetic. This is very similar to the first run that you saw. So in this one, you can see the difference between jester rings and cursed crown and how they can yield very similar results. I did get unlucky and I didn't hit a critical hit on my very first hollow purple, but chances are that I will get a crit on my next hollow purple. So all I gotta do is build up my 10th attack once more, and once again just shows a good example of how you want good consistency, so you can hit crits on every single one of your hollow purples. Because as you can see, I did not hit a critical hit on my next hollow purple, so this means that it's gonna take 3 hollow purples to kill him. So you can see how important critical chance is, and boom, finally he's dead, and that took 1 minute and 19 seconds. And next in this run, we are bringing the jester rings and we are bringing the cursed crown cosmetic. This is personally my favorite build. This is the consistency king build. This gives you so much crit rate, gives me 96% crit rate, and I accidentally brought the critical perk, so usually I would bring the undead perk, but you can still see how good this build is. Plus we got lifesteal from jester rings to keep us healthy. You can notice that even though we compromised on critical damage, we still did almost 3.5 million damage in our first hollow purple, and right now we're about to rip our next hollow purple that's going to finish the job, clearing our run in 1 minute and 4 seconds. Alright, now my final example is the cursed crown and the cursed finger cosmetic. Just like the last build, this is a consistency king build, but this also gives me lots of cooldown reduction. I definitely don't need it, but you can definitely showcase how fast my cooldowns is. We got caught into a malevolent shrine here, so you can notice how much damage we're going to take. So you can notice that we're not as healthy anymore without bringing the jester rings. But that's alright, since we're going to be able to finish the job with our consistency build. Our next hollow purple will definitely kill him, so we'll get all the way down to 5 health, and we'll still be strong enough to survive the attack, and then we'll kill him with this hollow purple, and boom, that's going to finish the job in 1 minute and 10 seconds. Alright, but that's going to be it for this video. I hope this gives you an idea of all the new cosmetics and exactly what you want to pick, and I hope that this gives you a new understanding of how important critical chance is, so that you can get a critical hit every single time you use hollow purple. Now I will say, if you're using Joker or you're using Wizard, critical chance doesn't matter that much. I mean, obviously it's still an important stat, but since those are multi-hit attacks, you're going to get crits eventually in one of those multi-hits. But since hollow purple is just one single attack, you definitely want that one single attack to be a crit, so you can finish him in at least 2 hollow purples. You don't want to get to the point of having to use 3. So whether you want to use a full consistency build like me, where you want to use cursed crown and jester rings, or if you just want to use the jester rings and red blade, where you still have critical chance but some critical damage, just the only combination I don't recommend is bringing red blade and bringing the snazzy glasses. This is just way too much, and there's no consistency whatsoever. But that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, please.